Good morning and welcome to the MyTalent 2015-16 update. For the next hour, we're going to go over some of our accomplishments from 2014-15 and give you information of what's coming up for this current school year. We will first do a MyTalent background. We'll do a 2014-15 wrap-up and showing you where to locate archived plans. We will discuss heat maps. We'll be looking at changes and information for the 2015-16 evaluation plan types. We'll be talking about our enhancements and help you in getting started with the evaluations for this year. We're going to talk briefly about employees who refuse to sign their documents throughout the year, and then last, getting help and some feedback. So a little bit about our backgrounds and accomplishments for the 2014-15 year. As you're aware, MyTalent is an online performance management system that we started implementing during the 2014-15 year for sort of one-stop shopping to support supervisors and employees throughout the district. During 2014-15, we were able to get all of our evaluations into one place, excluding our executive staff. We now have PDPs for all of our employees. We have an online process for our forms, letters, and evaluations. We have our professional learning module, and that module links PD to evaluation standards. And then we also have the support and reporting for our supervisors. To give you some good news, based on getting ready for the new school year, we have decided to extend the deadline for our exempt and non-exempt evaluations from August 14th to September 4th. So all evaluations for 12-month exempt and non-exempt employees will be due on September 4th, and we will be archiving those shortly after, so September 4th is the final day. The end-of-year PDP review is for our non-exempt employees only. This step applies if the optional PDP was created for 2014-15. If your employees, your non-exempt employees did create a PDP for 2014, then congratulations to you. And you've taken the first steps towards helping your staff improve and grow in their profession. So looking ahead to this year, 2015-16, we are setting the deadline for all exempt and non-exempt evaluations to be July 29th of 2016, so that we can get everything wrapped up during July and be ready to move forward with all of our plans for the 2016-17 year. If you have any feedback on this date or have any questions, we've given you the talent management email address that you can send us a comment. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Eleanor to talk about reporting.
Hello everyone. As you're wrapping up the 2014-15 evaluation plans, just a reminder that on the staff evaluations tab, you have access to what are called heat map reports that allow you to see the specific status for a group of evaluation plans. In the upper right-hand corner of that staff evaluations tab is an icon that says evaluation status or evaluation completion. When you click on that icon and select the reports, you can select the plan, then you can select specific steps, and then you can view the staff members that report to you and the status of their evaluations step by step. This is an easy way to see your progress as you are wrapping up your exempt and non-exempt evaluation plans for this year. I'm now going to turn it over to Alan Dillard, who will talk about the plans coming up and changes in MyTalent.
So first we want to talk about when 2015-16 plans will be available. But before we can do that, we need to talk about what's happening with the 2014-15 plans. So currently our plan is on September 1st to archive or save the 1415 CAFs, written warnings, and PCLs. That doesn't mean that you won't have access to those forms. It just means they will be saved into an archived file. With that in mind, we need to think about if there are any corrective action forms out there or performance counseling letters that need to carry over to the 15-16 year. So what we mean by that is if you started a plan and it's in progress and you need to carry it over to next year, so you don't want us to archive it, we're going to be contacting supervisors that appear to have active plans that have not, where the completion step has not been done at this point, to ask you if that plan needs to be carried over. So if you have corrective action forms and have not done that completion step, if you would go ahead and do that, then that will signal to us that that plan is safe to archive. All right. We also want to talk about where to find archived plans, but before we do that, I want to just say that, as Jan just mentioned, that the deadline for 12-month employee exempt and non-exempt evaluations, that deadline has been extended to September 4th, and we will archive those plans on September 8th, which means they are going away on September 8th and being saved in the file. So where do you find archived plans from the prior year? And this will apply to evaluations from this year or any of the forms that you may have completed. So in MyTalent, when you click on Staff Evaluations, and you wait for it to come up, then you see at the top left side of the screen under Evaluation Participation, you see option for all evaluations. If you click on the symbol to the left of all evaluations to get that drop down, and then move down to use the scroll bar to move down to the bottom of that list, you will see a section that is titled Archived Evaluations. And that's where you can go in and find the type of evaluation or type of form that you are looking for from the 2014-15 year for active employees and find the prior year's forms. So we wanted you to be aware of how you would find archived plans or forms. So when can you expect to see plans for the 15-16 year? Our plan is that they will be launched no later than September 1st. We're hoping it will be sooner than that, but absolutely no later than September 1st. That includes teacher and licensed support staff evaluations and PDPs, principal and AP evaluations, exempt and non-exempt evaluations and PDPs, and forms and letters. Again, we don't think it will take as long as until September 1st, and you will be notified as plans are launched. So they will be launched as they are ready, and you will be notified when they are launched. For those departments that have employees or are responsible for evaluating staff members who have a NESIS type of evaluation plan, the state has changed the names of those plans for this year. So the plans themselves have not significantly changed. It's mostly just the name of the plan. So the comprehensive plan is what was formerly probationary. That is for employees with less than 3 years of experience or those who are in their first year in CMS. The standard plan is the plan for people with 3 or more years of experience, not new to CMS, and who are in their license renewal year. And then the abbreviated plan is what was formerly the career abbreviated plan, of course, and that's for any employee with 3 or more years of experience. They are not new to CMS, and they're in their off-year license renewal cycle, are eligible to be on an abbreviated plan. It's important to note that there is no abbreviated plan for licensed support staff. That's another thing that will be new for this year for licensed support staff with a NESIS type plan, and we're talking about the positions that are listed at the bottom of the table there. So that's counselors, media coordinators, social workers, psychologists, and instructional technology facilitators. Supervisors will need to assign a plan type that will be either comprehensive or standard. Those plan types will be assigned based on career codes, and we plan to provide you with a career code key that will help you in making those assignments for both licensed support staff positions and teachers. There will also be a new late hire evaluation plan this year for employees who are hired after the late hire cutoff dates and prior to March 1st. The new late hire evaluation only requires one observation and a summative, and that plan can be used for both teachers and licensed support staff with these NESIS type plans. CMS also has two other categories of licensed support NESIS plans. The first one is the speech, language pathologist, occupational therapist, and physical therapist plan. Those are for employees in those positions regardless of the number of years of experience that they have. They are not required to have peer observations, and there are no changes to that plan. Then there is a new plan called Licensed Support Staff, NESIS, CDC, and TLS. CDC is Career Development Coordinator. TLS is Teacher Leadership Specialist. So the CDC is for all career development coordinators and academy coordinators. The Teacher Leadership Specialist evaluation for this year is for positions in specified departments only for this year. Jill, sorry, can we go back one? So one other thing that I want to mention as far as the licensed support staff plans are concerned, any licensed support staff who are assigned to a comprehensive plan, so they have fewer than 3 years of experience or they are new to CMS in their first year with CMS, will be required to have a peer observation. You'll be getting more information about this, but those peer observation assignments will be made by the district specialists that support those positions, and again, you will get more detailed information about that later. Just a reminder that any evaluator of teachers or licensed support staff who are assigned to NESIS type plans must have completed the appropriate training prior to being involved in the observation process. For the licensed support staff positions, there are training modules available in MyTalent on the Professional Learning tab. If you just search the words licensed support staff, those modules will come up. And we do monitor to make sure that anyone who is assigned as an evaluator or an observer for one of these positions has been appropriately trained. There are also MyTalent training opportunities, and this is to learn how to use the MyTalent system for new evaluators of teachers or licensed support staff positions who are, again, on NESIS plans, and also for anyone who needs a refresher. These are also scheduled in MyTalent on the Professional Learning tab. And if you just search MyTalent, no space between MyTalent, typically these courses will all pop up. There are no changes to the CMS evaluation plan types, so we do have some positions such as facilitators, deans of students, resource teachers who are on the CMS licensed support staff evaluation plan. There's no change to the content of non-exempt evaluations or exempt evaluations of any type. So now I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie, who is going to show you what the new MyTalent portal looks like.
Good morning. Once you log into the new portal, you'll see a different login screen and a different view of the home page. Depending on the device you're using, this is the new login page. If you have forgotten your password, you can click on the Forgot Password link, and that will lead you to entering your username, and it'll send you an email so that you can log in by resetting your password. Once you get logged in, you'll be presented with a new home screen. In the far left-hand corner is a green home button. Below that will be an envelope which will represent any announcements. If there is a number next to it, it means you have unread announcements. The calendar is directly below that. If you have any upcoming events that you have placed in there, they will also be located there. It does not link up to your Outlook calendar. If there are surveys related to courses you have taken, they will also be listed on the home page under the My Surveys section to the right. Depending on the device you're using and your monitor screen size, there will be a button which will represent more information or links related to the options you have in MyTalent. If you click on Staff Evaluations, the employees that you have to evaluate will be listed. If you select the name next to the evaluation type, then it will pull up the employee that would be targeted with that plan. If you need to observe another employee, you can click on the member filter, and that will allow you to search for a member with the same type of evaluation without getting completely out of the screen you're on. We also have help guides available in MyTalent. And they're under the Help Guides tab. Any option or label that you select from the top will turn green, so you'll know which area you are on. The Help Guides will be listed by category, and if there is an asterisk to the right, they will also have an accompanying video related to that module.
Thank you, Stephanie. We want to talk for just a moment about enhancements that have been made to some of the plans and forms. For the non-exempt evaluation for 2015-16, the workflow has been removed. So what does that mean? That means that you won't any longer be stuck on a step and not able to move forward in the plan before that particular activity has been marked complete and then clicked send to next activity. So those of you who've been working on your evaluations are very familiar, I'm sure, with that send to next activity button. That goes away for 2015-16. The PDP CMS plan has been modified so that either the supervisor or the employee can go in and create goals and report goal progress. So no longer is it just the supervisor who can complete the mid-year progress or end-of-year progress for goals. Either person can do that. So the new functionality is more like the NESIS PDP for those of you who are familiar with that plan. We also mentioned earlier that license support staff with a NESIS type of evaluation, except for speech, occupational, and physical therapists, are required to have a peer observation for 15-16 if they are in their first 3 years in a position. So there is a peer observation that is included in the comprehensive evaluation plan. So it's important to correctly assign beginning employees or those who are in their first year in CMS to a comprehensive plan so that the peer observer will have access to the peer observation. The corrective action form, we think, has been significantly improved. It is more user-friendly. We've changed the accept and refuse signature option to acknowledge like it is in the evaluation plans and PDPs. We're removing the option for employee refuse to sign. We've simplified some of the user fields with drop-down menus instead of having to answer yes or no for a long string of fields. And then the fields have also been reordered to be more logical. So the content of the CAF form has not changed. It's just a little more user-friendly, let's just say. You will also find a new feedback survey in the MyTalent announcements that users can use at any time to provide feedback on their experience in MyTalent. So we don't want you to use that to report a problem that needs resolution. We want you to continue using the Sharewell tickets or whatever method you have been using to request help with MyTalent. But if you do have something that you would like to share about your user experience, whether positive or opportunity for improvement, then we would certainly like to hear what that is so that we can continue to make improvements to the system. Okay, we want to talk a little bit about what supervisors need to do to get started with their evaluations and PDPs for 2015-16 once those plans are launched. So the first thing is just an evaluation and PDP orientation or overview. When you get the timeline, which we expect to be sending out as soon as we are confident as to when these plans are going to launch, we will go ahead and make that timeline available to you. So we expect that to happen very soon. They're actually already ready, and we just have to make sure of when the plans are launching. So the overview of the evaluation process is something where you would just meet with your team as a group perhaps and review department or school goals for the year, talk about performance expectations, the evaluation process, the rating scale, especially for new employees, self-assessments, which are optional and reside in the professional development plan. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. PDPs, so professional development plans are required for all exempt and non-exempt, well, for everybody. PDPs are required for all CMS employees except, well, I'll wait till we get to that section to go over the exceptions to that. And then you'll also want to talk about your senior manager's work results objectives. So PDP goals and the senior manager work results objectives will need to be determined at the beginning of the year. So the self-assessments live in the professional development plan in the initial PDP review step. We did not launch professional development plans for exempt employees for 14-15 because we launched the evaluation plan so late. However, we've gotten a lot of requests for self-assessments from supervisors. So we want you to know that for the 15-16 year, everybody will have a self-assessment in the PDP that can be used or not at the supervisor's discretion. But we wanted to mention a couple of instances in which that use of that self-assessment may be beneficial. So it's a really good way to orient new employees to the evaluation expectations, and it's also a good way for new employees to complete the self-assessment to determine areas where they maybe don't feel quite as confident and recognize need for professional development or growth. A lot of supervisors also like to use self-assessments just prior to their filling out the end-of-year evaluation so that they can see where the employee feels like they are as far as their performance is concerned, and then compare it to what the supervisor's perspective is. Professional development plans, again, they're required for exempt and non-exempt staff and all CMS employees except bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and custodians. So if you are in any position other than those that we just mentioned, then you are required to have a professional development plan, and your staff is for this upcoming year. Because non-exempt staff has never had a formal professional development plan before, unless you were one of the folks who piloted those for us this past year, we're highly encouraging supervisors to keep those plans simple. We don't want to overwhelm either supervisors or the employees. So one goal per employee may be plenty for both you and your employees to manage in the first year. We also want to point out that the mid-year review step is optional, but it is best practice. The work results objectives for senior managers are Section A in the evaluation plan. The work results objectives are like KPIs, and it's where that senior manager develops personal or individual and department work outcomes for the year. The supervisor then approves those work objectives. Supervisor access to MyTalent is solely dependent on information that is in Lawson. So if information that's in Lawson is not correct or not up to date, then evaluations, PDPs, and forms and letters will not be targeted and not be available for supervisors to see. So if you know that there is an issue with Lawson, if you've had changes to supervisors in your department, please notify the appropriate HR team lead as early as possible so that those changes can be made, and when plans are launched, they will be targeted to the correct people. We also wanted to remind you of the availability of performance journals for all employees. Employees who have come to training really like the performance journal, and if you haven't been to a training, then you may not have even recognized that there is a performance journal out there. The performance journal is for the supervisor's use. Employees don't have access to the performance journal at any time, unless the supervisor chooses to print something and share it with that person. The purpose of the performance journal is to record notes or memory joggers about employee performance that aren't captured elsewhere. So we're talking about those informal feedback opportunities that you have probably on a regular basis, and you may not even recognize that that's what they are. For example, if you stop an employee on their way into work in the morning and you say, do you have a problem getting here on time this morning? Then that is feedback, and you may want to just make a little note about that in the performance journal, so if the problem continues, you'll have documentation as to how many times and when you have talked to that employee about a particular issue. It doesn't necessarily have to all be negative feedback. It can also be an instance where perhaps you supervise a plumber and they got an emergency call in the middle of the night and went out and responded, and you take the time to tell that employee, maybe even send them an email to say, thank you so much for responding quickly. We were able to avert an emergency at the school because you responded so quickly. So they can be positive or improvement opportunities as far as the types of notes that are captured. The really nice thing is that those performance notes can be tagged to the employee's evaluation objectives or competencies. So when it's time to complete the evaluation at the end of the year, if you've been regularly keeping up with these performance journal notes, then you'll have a pretty good view over the entire year of what that employee's performance looks like for each of the evaluation objectives or competencies that you have notes for. So we want to just show you the performance journal very quickly so that you know where it is and how it works. It's very simple. So you go to Staff Evaluations, click on that, and then find one of your employees, the one that you want to enter a note for. Open there, and at the top you see when you open their evaluation plan, at the very top prior to the performance evaluation, you see the performance journal. If you click that, okay, and this one already has a note in it. We can see that we have entered a note here, and which is a good time to point out that at any time notes can be changed, so nothing is ever in stone in the performance journal. You can edit the note that you've already captured, you can delete the note at any time, or you can go back and add a file. So just like we talked about, perhaps we sent an email to that plumber who responded to the emergency. If we wanted to attach that email to this note, we could do that as evidence of this feedback. So we click to add another note, we click on New Note over to the right side of the screen, and it's just a blank text box field, and we put in whatever information that we want to capture in this note. Over to the right is where you will see those tags that we have been talking about. So all of the performance objectives or competencies for that particular employee are listed over on the right side of the screen, and we can click as many of those tags as we want. So, and you can, again, because you can edit these, you can go in. So Jill's doing it by dragging the tags over. You can also, within your notes, if we click on edit or add tags, either one, you can also just go over and click on the tag, and it automatically is added. The nice thing about this is that if you can also filter the notes, you can sort the notes, so when it's time to do the evaluation, if you only want to see the ones that pertain to a particular performance objective, you can do that. If you want to see a date order, if you want to see from this date to that date, you can filter that way. If we wanted to see only the ones that pertain to someone's attendance because they were having an attendance or an on-time arrival problem, then we could look at just those. So most of the supervisors that have been exposed to this really like the idea of this. It's optional, it is not a requirement, but we feel like that if it's used and used regularly, that it could be very beneficial to you at the end of the year. You will also be able to access the performance journal notes from within the evaluations, which is also a really nice feature. We also want to review a new stand, if you will, on employees who refuse to sign in CMS. So we have a long history in CMS of employees who refuse to sign documents, and we don't have any type of disciplinary response to that. So we have decided that in review of Board Policy GBEB, the Standards of Conduct, there is an issue that is called insubordination. Insubordination includes, but is not limited to, intentional refusal to follow or carry out work-related instructions of a supervisor or any employee with administrative authority. So if a supervisor makes a reasonable request of an employee, which asking an employee to sign an evaluation or a PDP or a form is a reasonable request, and that employee refuses, then they are in violation of Board Policy GBEB, Standards of Conduct. So just very quickly, the process for employees who refuse to sign is to review the contents of the document that you're asking them to sign, and then ask the employee to sign or acknowledge the form. Remember that in the majority of cases, you're asking them just simply to acknowledge that they've seen the form, that it has been reviewed with them. You're not asking them to agree with the content or approve of it. You just want them to acknowledge that they saw it. If the employee refuses to sign or acknowledge the document, then you should allow the employee time to reconsider his or her decision. You should allow up to 5 days, working days, for the employee to sign. Follow up and within that 5 days and remind the employee of the unsigned form and the pending deadline. If at the end of the 5 days the employee still hasn't signed, then the employee should contact the HR team lead, who will counsel the employee and offer one last opportunity to sign. If the employee still refuses to sign after being counseled by the team lead will instruct the supervisor to complete a written warning in MyTalent. If the problem persists, then the HR team lead will contact employee relations for further action. Stephanie has already talked about the help guides in MyTalent. Oops, and I think Eleanor is now going to go over how other means of getting help with MyTalent.
Hello again. We are going to be utilizing the updated My Support portal, which you may know as the Sharewell system. This is really the best and fastest way to get help with MyTalent, as with many other HR systems, because there are a number of us who are checking the active tickets and the active requests in the Sharewell system all day long, so we can get to your question as quickly as possible if you go ahead and create a ticket in Sharewell. There's a new, more streamlined link to the Sharewell portal. It's mysupport.cms.k12.nc.us. That link is also available on the CMS intranet right on the home page. So it's very easy to get to. It's a web-based interface. You simply click the Human Resources /Payroll box to create a new ticket. You'll select the specific topic in the MyTalent area, or if you have a question with the professional learning module or other support needed from the professional development group, you could choose something from the PD or professional learning section as well. If you'll enter your details just by following the prompts within the Sharewell ticket system, that provides us with the information that we need to get to solve your request or solve your problem as quickly as possible. And again, there are a number of people who check this queue all day long, so this is a very fast and efficient way for us to meet your needs and get you the help that you need or resolve any problems. You can certainly call if you need to. The best main number to use is the HR support number at 980-343-1900, and that number is obscured on the slide, but it's the 1900 number, and your issue will be captured again within the Sharewell system, and then will be routed quickly to the folks who will work on resolving whatever the issue is. Please note again that this is a very efficient way for us to resolve issues with MyTalent. Also, it helps us to capture issues that may be common across different individuals in different areas within the district, and to escalate those issues when there's a technical problem that involves additional resources both on the CMS side as well as with our MyTalent vendor. Additional support is available to you. We have, as you know, there are monthly HR webinars. There is a webinar scheduled for tomorrow. This is the wrapping up in the first HR webinar for the 2015-16 school year. That will be tomorrow, August the 6th, and then it will also be available on Monday, August the 10th. The HR webinars are generally scheduled on the first Friday of each month, and the following Monday. So they're also recorded, and all of the presentation slides and other resources are posted for you on the HR site on the CMS intranet. If you have not received a notification of the HR webinar coming up tomorrow, or if you are not receiving regular notifications of the HR webinars, if you would go ahead and send an email to talent management, that email address is right in the CMS address book, talentmanagement@cms with the suffix there. We will make sure that you are added to that notification list and get those invitations in a timely manner for those monthly webinars. We do invite you to sign in, to listen in on August 6th or to the replay on August the 10th. Ongoing questions or support for professional development plan process and goals, as well as the overall evaluation process, and support for providing feedback and completing those documents. Your first point of contact would be your HR team lead in our employee support group. You can also contact the talent management group by telephone at 343-1907 or by email again at talent management. Professional learning questions, whether it's within MyTalent or professional development opportunities and processes in general, are handled with our organizational development group, and that telephone number is 343-5404. We'll give you a moment to type in any questions you may have. We do have folks on hand who are reviewing the questions, and we'd love to answer any items that you'd like to know more about. I'll just pause for a moment to see if there are questions in the queue. At this time, we do not have any pending questions, but again, you're encouraged to contact the talent management team either by telephone or by email with any questions or feedback regarding these upcoming changes. There will be additional communication coming out, as Ellen mentioned, as new evaluation plans and professional development plans go live in MyTalent. We will be providing that information to you. Keep an eye on that announcements page on the home tab of MyTalent. Looks like we do have a question.
So the question is, what is the last date for non-exempt staff evaluations? And for 2014-15, the deadline is September 4th of 2015, and that date will not be extended. So they all need to be completed by September 4th. So at this time, we want to say thank you for your time and attending the webinar today. Remember that this is recorded, so that if there's any part of it that you want to go back and look at later, it will be available on the talent management homepage. And we wish you a very good 2015-16 and urge you to keep calm and MyTalent on. Thank you. Have a great day.